where I don't have to make any, bother anybody,
Yeah.
Let alone be like, hey, can I borrow this golf cart tonight?
Hey.
No, I mean, welcome to episode 9 of the EdgarSellsViera Podcast, coming to you live from Maui. We're in Maui.
We are. We packed up all the equipment and
Yeah, that was kind of hard getting everything on the plane yesterday. Alex didn't really want to move all his expensive equipment, but we convinced him, and we found a cool little desolate spot here in Maui, and I don't know how the power is working out here, but it's working. So everything's
generator
kind
running in the background.
The generator. Did you called the guy for the generator?
I did.
Guys, and we're here with my special guest, the one and only Jeremy Stewart.
Glad to be here.
Carpenter Kessel, Compass. You're in the building, man.
I know. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this for a while now.
For a bit, new year, 2024. So I definitely wanted to kick it off properly. And what better way to kick it off than with my good friend, Jeremy.
I know. We've known each other for
a bit, man.
Bit.
Before you were actually full-time in real estate.
Yeah, I was still 50-50.
Yeah, 50-50.
And you were working over in the Reeling Park model.
Yeah, man.
That's been
a while.
While ago.
That's, I don't know exactly how long, but anyways.
I can tell you, it's been about 4 years. I know exactly, because that's what I do.
I didn't put sunscreen on, so hopefully we'll be okay.
Look at me.
I mean, you're not going to be good.
Seriously, I douse myself in it. Alex knows if he gets me in the summer, I'm going full out before we
Contrary to what it's like right now, it's been pretty cold. Back in Florida, not here in Maui, but it's been pretty cold in Florida. And gray, right?
It's been it feels like it's going to snow every day.
Yeah, it's been rainy. I don't remember getting this much rain in January here in Florida.
No. Or over Christmas, we had a ton, too. Yeah.
But I think also, too, it's kind of the 1 month, the one crap month that we get, and then from there we kind of start rolling.
I know. I always tell my clients, I go, you have 3 bad months. You have June, July, August, a little bit of September maybe. You have 3 that are in between. They go hot and cold, and then you really get 6 great months a year here.
Yeah. No. I think maybe more than that. But anyways, you always get the people, oh, it's so hot in Florida. It's not always so hot in Florida.
No, and it's no hotter than anywhere else. You ever
when
been in
summer,
the Midwest in the summer?
No, I haven't.
It is just as humid, no wind, and no ocean to go to.
Oh, it's landlocked, right?
Oh, yeah. There's nothing.
To go.
Cornfield.
Well, unlike Maui right now, where we have water, it's probably beautiful. The weather's nice today, so
yeah, it is.
We made it work, dude. So what is going on? How has your year started? Actually, how did your year end last year? But before we get into that, I always like to just really quickly tell us who you are, where you're from, where were you born? I mean, tell us a little quick bio, 5-minute. All right. Where are we coming from today?
So
originally,
I was born in southern Indiana in a smaller town called Evansville, but I lived out in the county. So I say Evansville because it was the closest big city.
Right.
And lived there all the way through high school. Same house. I was the only subdivision for miles. I was, 30 minutes from the closest McDonald's?
Wow.
Yeah, no grocery stores. We went to town once a week.
Right.
For groceries. That was it. And
so it was rural.
Yeah, very rural. I went to high school with 400 kids. 100 per. I went to the same kids K through 12, really. And then went to Indiana University, which was a bit different.
Hoosiers?
Yeah. 50,000 students on campus. Bobby night basketball. Insanity.
You remember that?
Yeah, it was the early 90s. Early 90s. Bobby was still really doing his thing.
R.I.P.
Yeah, I know. He's incredible. So, such a good time. Then I graduated and went to graduate school for physical therapy in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
Another big basketball state.
Started moving a little bit more south.
It was really lateral. So, if you look at Indiana and Kentucky, where I grew up, it was dead 2 hours east.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't even south. It feels more south than it actually is.
But that's all Midwest, right?
Yeah.
Considered?
Yeah. Kentucky Derby for 2 years. Great time. Graduated, and at the end of physical therapy, you have to go on these internships. You do 3 2-month internships. Well, I did my first one, and I figured, I'll live in Florida for 2 months. When am I ever going to get a chance to do this again? So I actually interned in Melbourne at Sea Pines Rehab Hospital off Babcock Street. Rented a place about a mile south of the Publix in Mel Beach.
Okay.
It was an oceanfront. Oh. It was in the bottom floor of a house. It was a studio set up. I got it for $400 a month on short-term rental.
We're not going to say how long ago that was, but...
I'll tell you, it was 23 years ago.
Wow.
Guys, 23. Okay. And finished up my internships. The market was really interesting for physical therapy at the time. And I figured, what the heck, I'll live a couple years in Florida.
So did they give you, you were able to stay at that place?
I ended up going into a different outpatient orthopedic because I wanted to work with athletes. So I moved here in 2001. Yeah. And fast forward a couple years, I get the dream job where I get to start working with athletes, and met my wife, and she's from Fort Lauderdale. And her family had moved their business up here, so we ended up staying. And here I am, 23 years in March later. But I opened a private practice with some friends in 2016, and was just getting really tired of traveling with the Women's Professional Golf Tour. Love the people, love doing it. Yeah. Missed my family. Sure. That was really what it was about. And always loved real estate. Tried to sit for the class in 2004.
Okay.
So a while ago. And we had 3 hurricanes that year. And no real estate class because there was no power. Wow. So I thought that was a sign. I didn't do it. Sat for it again in 2010.
Right after the okay.
Yeah. Got married, got a job promotion, never sat for my license. We fast forward, and I'm always on Zillow and Realtor, and my wife's like, you need to do something with this. And my hands were hurting, had great partners, great practice going, just decided I wanted to do something different, and got my license, and kind of backed away from it, went 50-50 for a year.
I remember that.
Did fortunately really well. It was COVID. It was 2020. It was, and I thought I made the worst decision of my life. And ended up coming out of it.
I think everybody did.
You're right. I was like a business quarter end when things shut down. I was like, oh no, this is bad. But end of the year ended up like killer. And then backed out again in 2021 a little more, and towards the middle of 2021, I stopped practicing PT altogether. Yeah. I went full-time real estate. So 22 and 23 were like my.
What was that like? I mean, decision-making process like, because again, you went to school for this. You have a degree in it. You went to, like you said, graduate school. It's something you always wanted to do. Do you feel like you kind of, once you've started doing what you want to do, working with athletes, that it just reached a point where, or like, did you become tired of it, or you just maybe started to love something more, is what it was?
I think we were just talking before we filmed about that book, The Infinite Game. I think I had more of a finite mindset. Like, I had these goals for physical therapy, and I met them. I got to do all the cool stuff I ever wanted to do, and it was, what's the next step, and what can I do till I'm 65 if I want to? And I've always loved being in houses, always loved being around it, and I love people because, let's be honest, this is a people job.
Plus, not to mention, where you're living, right?
Yeah.
Area, and the growth that was happening here, I'm sure also kind of,
It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt. So, I got off my keister and I did it. And it's been a great move. And about a year ago, I joined up with Carpenter Kessel Team. Yep. And honestly, best move I've ever made. My mind's just been opened up huge. And end of last year was fantastic. I think I had one of the best fourth quarters I've ever had, which is weird.
Yeah.
You know, usually we don't say that about our fourth quarters. And it was a challenging year. And coming into this year, man, it's like everybody's out of the woodwork and hitting it hard. The news is super positive. I'm sure you're seeing, you know, I see all you guys' releases.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, I don't know. I say this to people because everyone always asks me, they're like, is it slowing down? Is it busy? And I think for the last couple of years, everything is being compared to 2021, right? People are basically comparing that. And I say the same thing every time. It just wasn't. That wasn't, you know, that was like I don't want to say like a freebie, but it was like just a frenzy.
Yeah.
And you were grabbing what you could, and a lot of people did very well. But that wasn't indicative of how the market's supposed to be, in my opinion, right? So when they look at it now, they're like, oh, is it slow? I'm like, no, it's not slow. It's just normal. Right?
Yeah.
It's going back to a level playing field, a healthy market, which I think is how it should be.
Do you like that better, working with people like me in that situation?
What do you mean?
Do you feel like the relationships are a little better in this type of market than they were a couple years ago?
I think so. Ultimately, you know, the key word to me is relationship, because at that time, you know, during 2021, when it was just, you know, we were releasing tons of lots, and you know, even in the general real estate market, you know, multiple offers and all that stuff. I think that if I already had a relationship with you, it was good. Maybe it was just, you know, you were also crazy, I was crazy, so we kind of like understood each other in that particular time. But I think in general, man, I feel like my business, and when I say my business, I do look at, you know, what I do, I like as if it's my own business. Right. Like, in what I do, you know, having, you know, individuals like yourself and other, you know, amazing realtors that I have had the pleasure of working with in the area, is vital to everything that I do. I mean, I don't know how many people in my industry are going to ask a client who's, you know, coming in without a realtor if they're working with a realtor. And I ask all of my clients because, you know, look, the last thing I want to experience, or I never want to get that phone call from a realtor. Hey, my name is such and such from, you know, XY Realty. My buyer's just, you know, signed a contract with you, and, you know, I'm wondering how I can get on the deal. And it's like, you know, I never want that to happen.
Right.
You know, I never want to cut a realtor out of a deal, like, because I want to make a slight higher percentage, you know? Like, that's, for me, it's the long game, I think. I rather, you know, oh, you have a realtor? Yeah, bring him in. I'd love to meet them. And because that's another relationship. That's another person I can add to my, you know, to my contacts, to my distribution list that I send stuff out. And, you know, whatever. Yeah, you might make slightly less than a deal, but I always think it's going to pay off later in the future, because that's another contact that, you know, now they have somebody that they can call on speed dial, you know, when they need something, or, you know, and it happens not all the time, but it works as opposed to saying, oh, no, you don't need a realtor. I'm a realtor. No, I'm a realtor. But if you have somebody and you want to bring them into this deal, 100%, let's do it.
Well, and I think that makes you a little different than other people I've dealt with.
Yeah.
But the other nice thing is, when I am showing clients around, I go, hey, we're going to go over to Viera Builder in Pangea Park. I go, we're going to go talk to my guy Edgar. Yeah. And when you say it that way, they're like, for me, it gives me another level of credibility, because now it's, oh, he has somebody that he works with over there. It's not this, hey, we're going to walk in and see who's available.
For sure,
today.
because I think for you, it adds a little bit more credibility to what you're doing, because it shows that you're confident. You have somebody there like myself who, you know, we've done this a number of times already. I more or less have a process in place, and I know how you work, you know, kind of, you know, I know your demeanor, you know, you're super professional, but we're not super serious, right? I mean, like we definitely, because I don't look at myself, I think I don't take myself that seriously sometimes. I mean, I love what I do. And I think when you love what you do, you can really kind of have fun with it in a way. And still be
100%.
professional because you're knowledgeable and things like that. But, yeah, I mean, you know, anytime I get a call from you or from, you know, other people, it's like it's just that connection that we have. I feel that I think it translates to the customer, and they feel, and they're like, oh, yeah, like they feel comfortable then. You know, because some people are standoffish, you know, customers sometimes.
It's money.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money. I mean, at the end of the day, like, we're helping these people make one of the biggest financial decisions they're ever going to make.
And it's about an experience. I try to say that a lot too. You know, we want to, in home building and building a house, it's about the experience. And a lot of times, historically, it's not the best experience because it's stressful for people. 12 months, you know, they might be renting, they might have moved from Indiana and they're renting a 3-bedroom apartment somewhere with kids. That's hard, you know? Yeah. That's stressful. That can put a strain on your marriage potentially, you know? I don't know, but I know it's hard. It's not easy by any means. So knowing that, right, how can I, in conjunction with you, make this process just a little bit, you know, less stressful for you. And I think that's the goal, what I try to do, whether it's, you know, meeting with buyers before they do their design appointment to, you know, kind of help them preview and set expectations, communicating, which everyone can always be a better communicator. I want to have better communication with my clients than I did this year. Okay. You know, whether it's to maybe sending them more pictures on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis. I obviously have email campaigns and keeping people, but for me, it's, you know, constantly trying to make that buyer experience really good, but also a comfortable one, because I know that their cup's already full with other stuff that they have going on.
I mean, I built with you guys, gosh, it's been almost 9 years ago now. Yeah. And it was, we built a house 4 years before, and the build experience with you guys was completely different. Right. You know, where we got to make some choices, and we met with people, and you get to do the walkthroughs, and I you know, that's why I push, because I had such a good experience, and my house is still great, and we're not moving. Sure.
Yeah. Well, you're in a great, I mean, that community is incredible. So.
I think we lucked out so much on that.
I missed that train. I got there right as that community was kind of closing out. End of 2016, 2017. But yeah, that's another thing where, you know, like you, like I said, this podcast is always, you know, really kind of geared towards Viera, first off, right, in general. Obviously, you're in the real estate business. You know, we work together, but you built a home.
That life.
Yeah, you live that life.
So when do you
have a golf cart?
Get this. This is a great story though. So I refused to pay for a golf cart because I'm inherently cheap. Right. So at the time my in-laws lived in Suntry in Oak Park. So what is that, 5-7 miles away? And my father-in-law gets this project car he wants to work on. He's got to pull it in his third bay of his garage, small little MG. He goes, so you guys, Jeremy and Audrey, my wife, are going to take the golf cart. We're going to give it to you for a while so you can run around Viera in it, and then we'll get it back.
Oh, because they needed the space.
They needed the space. So a month goes by, we don't have the golf cart. He hadn't got the car yet. And he finally goes, hey, when are you coming to pick up the golf cart? And I go, with what? You know, we drive small cars and definitely nothing with a hitch. And he goes, oh, no, you have to drive it home. So I go to Oak Park in Suntry, pick up this golf cart, and drive it down Wickham Road on the sidewalk, under the 95 overpass, illegal, through the roundabout, and somehow got it home. And at the time, this thing had been suspect on how far it would actually go.
Would it charge? Was it gas or electric?
It's electric, but it kept shorting out. So we got it home.
He gave you a lemon.
But it's been working great. So fast forward 2 years, they moved to Lake Washington. They want property. And he goes, hey, I need my golf cart back. And I go, well, you need to come pick it up. He goes, what do you mean? I go, well, I had to drive it from your house in Suntry. There's no way I'm driving it to Lake Washington. And he goes, I'm just gonna buy another golf cart. And he bought another golf cart. So we've had the golf cart now for 6-7 years. I think it's, you know, like common law ownership, kind of like a common law marriage. Once it's in your house long enough, it's yours.
That's it.
So that's how I got the golf cart.
Yeah, no.
And now we shoot all of our videos on it with Alex, and I mean, it's fast.
I heard you could like. I know people that kind of, what are they, like the unregulated, and they go really fast.
Yeah, and it's lowered and on like sport suspension, and it's got like these.
Do you have Bluetooth music? Can you put music on
No.
it?
He's not tech savvy, but it hauls. It's like stripped out like a drag cart.
Here.
It's probably goes like 25 or 30 miles an hour when it's full charge. Yeah, it's sick.
That's the life out there, though.
It is.
That's kind of, you know. I mean,
and that's how I market it. You know, look, you're gonna golf cart your kids to school, or they're gonna ride. You know, my daughter now, she doesn't want to even golf cart. We're like less than a mile from the school. She rides her bike every day.
By herself?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
With her friends.
Because all she has to do is cross Lake Andrew.
Yeah.
And there's crossing guards there.
Yeah. She, you know, so that's been great. When we moved there, we were in the beginning of phase 2 for Strom Park.
Yeah.
And it was only the one Strom Park entrance. You know, there's 3 now.
Yeah.
The road, Lake Andrew, ended about 50
Oh, yeah.
feet past that.
Yep, I remember.
And all of that was cow pasture and sod farm. And I remember them announcing Trisona.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, how are they ever going to fit all this? That's going to be 15 years from now.
No.
And my agent was like, yo, you should see, it's going to do all this stuff and it's going to connect to Pineda. And I'm like, I'm going to sell this house way before that ever happens. You know, it's going 30 years down the road. And here it just went, you know, by 2018, like.
Oh, yeah. Bridgewater came in, and then that kind of opened up the road for them.
Yeah.
But not fully to, like, let's say,
all the way to Pineda.
Yeah. Not yet. That just opened up, you know.
That
Lake
was
Andrew, I mean, that's. My wife doesn't even take 95 anymore to get to her job. Because, you know, she used to just either go down Lake Andrew and just cross Pineda to Wickham.
Mm-hmm.
Where now she doesn't even take Lake Andrew. She's all Pineda Boulevard. You know,
why not?
And it's just
well, and all that
shot.
development now that you guys, you know, that's all been opened up.
Yeah,
you and I drove out to Pangea last year. It was like a dirt road going out there, and that's all.
It's so crazy to see that, and I think also too, it never, you know, because I see a lot of these developments a couple years before, right? Before I guess like the general public does, and we get to kind of, you know, sit in on meetings and, you know, just learn things, what's coming, floor plans, communities. But it never, for me, I mean, when I meet a client and we're getting to that point where we've already figured out like the house that they want to build, like we know that, you know, it's going to be the Sophie. They want to build a Sophie. It's just a matter of where can we build a Sophie, right? Which, you know, where in the community are there available lots for that? And it never ceases to amaze when I walk lots with clients, you know, and seeing it, you know, the road's in, but you're just, all you see is a sign that says lot number 3Z or whatever. And they're like, we want this one. I'm like, wow. You know, you look at the map, you look at the plat, you look at the survey, you show them everything. And then 12 months later,
there it is. I know.
To me, it's like the wildest thing. And I guess you can't understand that unless like you actually like live it. You've seen it happen.
Well, yeah, I watched that happen.
I mean,
they built
just in general, like just seeing the area itself
it's
pop up where it's like you've seen it, just there was, you know, it's just dirt, and
it's like a movie.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Just watching it, just all of a sudden, just go up, and now we're getting all the
fun stuff's coming.
Like the fun stuff's all coming. You know, like Foxtail is going to be open soon, and
the coffee shop, right?
Coffee shop.
Is that good? I don't. I'm not a coffee drinker, so.
Foxtail's good. You know, I like that I'm going to be able to ride my bike to it.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, and not have to cross that roundabout.
That's true.
Because as much as I love Viera, that roundabout's still a little interesting to get in.
You got to stay on the outside lane.
You just got to drive a fast car. That's all it is. I have a strict policy. I go in with a head of steam.
Yeah.
And I just keep my head on a swivel once I'm in.
signal
and go and lay on my horn if I have to.
Well, because you're coming in through Lake Andrew. I never come in through that, like, through that way. Mm-hmm. I'm always either coming down from Wickham, from like the hospital, to continue on Wickham, where I feel like there's more traffic flow that way. When you're coming through Lake Andrew, it's like no one respects you. Like when you're coming through that side. I come from that
way. I also come from Wickham and had to 3/4 that thing.
Oh my God.
So that's always fun, and why I have a sports car.
Yeah. No. So. Well, it makes sense. It makes sense. No, that's cool. And then, so real estate now, I mean, there's no turning back, or is
no. I don't see it. I love it. I mean, I always felt like I was gonna like it and be really happy.
Yeah. What about it? Is it just, I mean, obviously, well, that, and obviously the schedule is different, I assume, right?
Schedule's way different. I can drop off my daughter, and I do have a
Is it giving you more time? Like,
yeah,
a little bit?
I think it gives me.
Well, you said you had to travel before a lot,
right? Yeah. And or I was in a brick and mortar in a clinic, 8 or 9 hours a day. So, now, I can take my daughter to gymnastics. If I have to work, I just log into their Wi-Fi and continue to do what I need to do.
Yeah.
So I have that flexibility. So I like the freedom of schedule, but I still have a very rigid schedule. I learned that probably after the first year. Like, so many people lose it because they don't put themselves on a schedule.
Well, they think it's like, right, exactly. They think it's, I can make my own schedule, and then there's no structure to it. There's no, like you said, there's no discipline. They kind of think it's just, I guess, whatever.
And yours is a little different because you have to go in.
I got to go in, yeah.
I don't have to go in, but I love to go in. Mm-hmm. So I go to the office every day. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll go to the office after this today.
I'll be honest. I mean, like I said, love it. Mm-hmm. And I love sitting in my office. I like to get there early, usually like at most maybe 30 minutes early, 9:30, maybe 9:45. And I kind of just love to sit there. I don't even turn the lights on in my office because there's a lot of natural light that comes in. And I just sit there, I take a, bottle of water, maybe my little protein shake. And I just like kind of just, I feel like I ground myself for a few minutes in there, and just, I'm big on, obviously, getting to work on time, not on time, so my dad always says, if you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time, right?
100%.
He's like, to me, it's like when that 10 o'clock hits, we have to be ready to take customers.
Yeah, you don't show up
at 10 o'clock.
Right, unlocking the door for the first guy.
Oh, I made it. No. You gotta be ready to go. Have all the lights turned on. Mm-hmm. Do a quick inspection of the house. Make sure everything's looking good. Even outside. I mean, checking the landscaping, because that's the first impression that people get.
Always.
So it's always something that I try to get my admins to, hey, keep on a lookout. I don't care if it's one light bulb that's out on a lamp. You got to tell me. We got to change that.
Yeah.
Is the music on? Is the temperature right? Is the, we have scent machines that are in the models.
Do you really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. You guys are high tech.
No, it's not. Well, yes and no. But, I mean, it's all about when people come into a model, it's like you want all their senses to kind of,
you want it to be the experience.
It's like they come in, it's like, wow, they look at it, and it's like, this is beautiful. It's, light little music playing, and then it smells fantastic in here, It's all encompassing, and that kind of is what people makes them kind of fall in love. That's why the models are always the best sellers, because, that plan,
so
they come in, and they're just like, oh, my God, I want this house.
So you seem to love that aspect of what you do. Mm-hmm. So, we're both realtors. We have very different lives from that standpoint.
Oh, yeah, 100%. We're both in the Bieber.
Yeah. So it's super interesting. And, I think we talked about this beforehand, too. The houses are great, but we're sharing clients right now, and we have some of the coolest people we get to work with. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, but I feel like for you do the same thing. I feel like I end up calling a lot of them friends when it's all said and done.
Oh,
that's what I always want. I always want friends at the end of this, not just, okay, this was somebody, I think we get a lot of bad rap in the industry of, you're just there for your check at the end of all this. Mm-hmm. No. You know,
I think that's different. It doesn't apply to us at all because of the community that we live in, right? Where, and even I guess a little bit outside of Viera, thinking, let's say, county-wise, Melbourne, Beachside, it's not huge. Everyone knows everybody, I think, for the most part, or maybe you're one person away from, like, knowing. Whereas, like, a big market like Orlando, that's got to be, like, it's more transaction.
It's a different market.
Whereas here, it's like, man, it's just so nice. Like you said, I mean, we see, you'll see people in the avenues, you'll see people everywhere, and it's just like, I go to Costco, and it's like, people see my kids, and, like, it's like, oh, Edgar, oh, these are your kids, and they get so excited. I'm like, yeah, and like, my kids shake their hands, and little things like that, to me is important because I feel like, it's obviously my job to give good service and stuff like that, but at the same time, it's like, it's not always good, right? There's clients that, maybe didn't have the best experience. Might not be my fault, but maybe something happened throughout the process, and you wish it could have been different. You wish,
100%.
And I'm sure you tried your best, or I know I have, to kind of, save, some face or whatever. But ultimately, some people, maybe in that situation, it was just too much for them, and they're gonna have a bad, they're not gonna have anything good to say or whatever, right?
Right.
But for me, though, I still have to see these people everywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm fine
Likewise.
with that. You know, it's like, we're present. I'm not going to go into a hole and hide, we can't, we're, it is what it is, But from that point, it's like you said, it's nice to work in an area where you live. And like I said, you're meeting people, and they're not only, it's not just business, like you said, it's actual genuine friends. Like a lot of the people that I have on here, most of them, I would say, are my friends. We just happen to do business together, in a way. But we're both living similar, similar lifestyles because we're in the community. We're living, like you said, that I don't have a golf cart yet, and everyone always jokes on me. How do you not have a golf cart? I'm like, I don't know. I just don't have a golf cart.
They don't have one. Like you can't just take one and they let you loan it out.
What do you mean? From
the models, they wouldn't.
Oh,
like a company vehicle.
I don't know. I don't.
The builders, they all, if you see construction trucks running around.
I'll be honest with you, man. I'm very low maintenance. I don't ask for anything. I don't bother anybody. In my organization, I know what I'm supposed to do. I know at the level, I have to do it, and I try to exceed that, and I try to do it where I don't have to make any, bother anybody. Let alone be like, hey, can I borrow this golf cart tonight?
Hey.
No, I mean, but my kids now, they're getting to the age.
It's about time.
Once a week they ask me, Daddy, everyone has a golf cart. Why don't we have a golf cart?
I'll tell you what, though. You might as well buy like an extra cart. These things have gotten insanely expensive.
They're not cheap.
See, people spending 15, 20 grand on a golf cart with LEDs under it, lifted.
Well, here's the thing too. It's like, so I work obviously in Viera. I've thought about it. If I get a golf cart, could I drive it to work? I think so. What if it rains? You
get wet. I'll tell you what happens.
Yeah, no, of course you're gonna. It's not. I'm sure it's not ideal. Or what if I have to go somewhere directly after work? What if I have to come into Melbourne after work and pick up something? I gotta go home.
Get the car.
So. I don't know.
I'll tell you.
I have to think about it and see, how much use am I really going to get out of it? Because our kid goes to the charter, so it's kind of far from where we are.
That'd be a haul.
Maybe if we went to like the elementary school, Via Elementary, or maybe Manatee, it'd be a little bit closer and probably consider. I just feel like right now,
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
The only reason I have one is because
I think I'm going to have to bend. I'm probably going to have to bend the knee eventually. Because my kids are,
all their friends have one.
Yeah, it's and then it's like
I do know. Unfortunately,
so we're not cool. We don't have a we don't have a golf cart, but
I told my kid we're just not going to be cool then on some things.
What else?
Oh man.
Wait, let me ask you.
Oh, okay.
Did you in your practice you had a license for what you used to do, right?
Yeah.
Did that just like expired?
No.
Keep it, you always keep it.
Funny enough, I keep it, Every 2 years I have to renew. It's pretty easy. It's 24 hours of continuing ed.
Yeah, because I'm guessing it'd be silly to let it go.
It would be. It would be. And I'll be honest with you. If I had to take that test today, I'd fail it. So, I got pretty focused on what I did.
Yeah.
So I do. I took it last year, and you can do so much online. Then you have to go in person.
Yeah.
And, I mean, not great, but I actually bailed out of a class with my wife to go show houses and come back in the middle of the day during one of the in-persons I had to do. I still got my credit.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
cool.
The guy didn't even know I was gone. There was like 100 people there. And she goes, how do you do this? I go, I picked you up lunch on the way. I mean, don't be mad.
Wow.
So I do. And it's pretty inexpensive. And you know what? Life happens. We always say we're not going to make changes, but here I was, I had a great life, salaried job.
Mm-hmm. Security.
A lot of security, and I gave all that up in the best possible way, because now,
someone's going to listen to this.
I know. They're going like, what were you doing?
Well, because that's going against the status quo.
It is.
In a lot of ways, right? Because you're breaking that comfort. A lot of people live in a very comfortable, which is fine.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, but I don't know many people who've kind of, like I said, you went to school for this. Like you invested so much time into this, but you kind of realized that, hey man, I think I want to do something else, and took that leap.
And my brain's always thought like next step. So even when I started my very first job interview, the guy goes, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I go, honestly, right in your seat with your job. And he goes, well, where do I go? I can't tell you. Where do you want to be in 5 years?
Jesus.
But I know I want your job in 5 years.
Did he hire you?
Huh? He did.
Oh, good for him.
So,
where is he at now? You don't know?
I think he's in Rockledge. Got a small clinic. No. I ended up working for him at another clinic too. He told me the only reason he hired me, because at that time you had to snail mail everything, but I next dayed my resume to him, and he had to sign for it. So I knew when the signature came across, because I got a notification.
Sure.
The only reason he hired me was because I called as soon as that signature, and I go, so I know you have my resume. When can I interview for the job? And he goes, I immediately moved to the top, because he saw an Indiana address. He goes, there's no way this kid has his Florida license. And I did. So I've always been pretty proactive. If I want
Sense
something,
of urgency.
I go after it.
Yeah. What was the coolest experience in that field that you had?
Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Because again, you wanted to work with athletes. What was like the coolest, like that moment you're like, yo, this is fucking dope. Like,
man,
or the coolest place you traveled for that, like. I know you've been here before in Hawaii, you said.
Yeah, I was in Oahu. That's an okay tournament. It wasn't my favorite. I always look for food. Whoever had the best food was like,
that would
man,
be me.
because I was in a trailer like 15 hours a day.
Oh
That's what
my
we had to look
goodness.
forward to.
Yeah.
Los Angeles, I was at Wilshire Country Club 3 times. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, all-time favorite, Bentonville, Arkansas.
Okay.
Home of Walmart.
Yeah, home of Walmart, right.
That
I
tournament-
see it on the trucks.
Tournament was amazing. The people there were incredible. Players loved it. So
What was good about it? Like, what was it?
food was incredible. Food was incredible. Bentonville's actually a really cool town.
Yeah.
There was a lot to
Does
do.
Walmart like own?
Oh, everything.
Do they?
Everything's there.
Probably, yeah.
But it was, and the thing I learned was anybody that has a contract with Walmart, so like 3M, Scott Towels, Johnson & Johnson, that does a lot of business, has to have executive presence in Bentonville. So you had all of these like C-suite people in Bentonville. So they had like the Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, great shopping, other good restaurants. It's actually, if you look, I think it was like the 5th or 7th fastest growing area in the U.S. at one point recently, because they were just bringing so much in. That was a cool place. Cool experiences. I got to kick a field goal at the house at University of Michigan.
Okay.
That was pretty awesome. And catch a football in the end zone from a Hall of Fame football player. So that was pretty awesome.
Pretty cool. I've never done that.
Yeah. Just it was a lot. There were a lot of cool things.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Along the way. Just people you meet and people you get to talk to, and you get these athlete stories.
Yeah.
And at one point I met Barry Larkin, who was second baseman for the Reds, a Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
I worked with him in Orlando for a short period of time. And he was like one of my idols growing up.
Sure.
And he's one of the coolest people I met. Like, first of all, when you called him on the phone, the first time I said Mr. Larkin, and he's like, "Hey, my name's Barry. Mr. Larkin's my father." And second, when you went into a meeting with him, there were 15 people in the room. You didn't know any of them, but you came in with him. He would personally introduce you to everybody in the room.
That's cool.
Before the meeting started, so you felt like you were part of the group.
Of course, that's awesome.
And I think that's always interesting in our jobs, the people you meet and how they conduct themselves, and now you know kind of why they are who they are.
Yeah, he's got humility. He's
like a real
humble.
person.
That's awesome. What about now switching gears, in your time of real estate, any crazy stories?
Oh, there's always.
I want to start asking like some of my realtor friends, like, you don't have to mention names, but like, just.
I haven't, people are always people, so there's always experiences.
Have you ever walked into a house and how am I going to sell this house? Or,
I get to work with Alex a lot. We had an interesting one in Suntree last year that may have had some pets that we had to take care of, but it worked out really well, and Alex is the man and got it done. So that there's always some of those. I think for the most part, I live pretty charmed with what I get to sell. I think because of the background and the network, I kind of came out of the gate very, very lucky.
Yeah.
Very, very lucky, and have continued that. I think people are people, and I've had to really go, wow, I can't believe people think like that sometimes. And
in what way? So what, like in terms of what they want to list the house for, unrealistic expectations, like
just straight paranoia. So great story. Clients end of last year.
This is what I want to hear.
They're super nice people, but they'd had really bad experiences in other states.
Okay.
Buying and selling.
Okay. Yeah.
Not necessarily even agents, just the process and things that have happened afterwards. So they wanted to make sure that they had attorney representation. This is a very clean contract, by the way.
Right.
So we did this lease back, like 4 days.
On the house that they were buying?
On the house they were buying.
Okay.
4-day lease back. We did a little money in escrow holdback in case there was any damage.
So the sellers needed to stay in for a couple days.
Yeah, it was Christmas, so we closed 2 days after Christmas. They wanted time to have Christmas in the house and then dismantle it and be out. Very reasonable.
And your buyers were okay with that?
Yeah, they're in a rental for a couple more months, and it wasn't a big deal. And so attorney representation for that, just to read the contract, make sure everything looks.
Is that not normal? I mean, does that not happen?
Not here very much, unless you start redlining a lot of things on contracts. We don't see it very often.
It's happened to me a couple times, and I don't mean to cut you off, where they'll say, oh, I want to have my attorney read it. So I'm like, I said, but just so you know, I said, nothing's gonna change on this contract. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, if your attorney says, oh, have them, change this.
Do this.
I'm like, and they're like, no. I'm like,
nothing.
I said so.
Well, this wasn't the case here, but they just wanted to read title and just make sure everything was copacetic.
Because they've been burned before.
They'd been burned.
Yeah.
So we get survey back. Survey is literally like the fence was an inch into the easement space on the back. Now, it's a conservation area that's completely surrounded by other homes. So nobody's ever going to resurvey this thing. And at the apex, we maybe had 6 inches into the easement. Who's going to move this fence if we...
Did you have to move it?
No, fortunately we didn't.
But I'm
like
saying in that
questions
situation,
like this,
right,
yeah,
okay,
we would have had to have, or the seller would have had to move the fence. But realistically, that's not getting resurveyed, and every neighbor, because the fences don't curve to meet the property, they're straight. They
Especially
all went into it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like the front or a side into like a neighbor.
So what happened? So
we closed, but the story gets way better. So we get to this lease back, and they start asking all these questions. Well, what if somebody sneaks in the house during the lease back period and jumps in the pool and drowns? Like, who's responsible for that? What if the house catches fire, and who's responsible for that? And we got to a point, it was like, what if a meteor hits the house and aliens take over? I mean, we can't account for every contingency, right? Like, we just got to that point. They're really great people, and they're super nice. We got them to the closing, and we're doing final walkthrough, and the buyer, he goes, so Jeremy, we told you we were going to be difficult. He goes,
you think they did it on purpose, though?
No, I think it's just them.
That's how they are.
Yeah, and they always said please. They always said thank you. So, like, very respectful of that. He goes, were we the worst clients you've ever had? And how do you answer that question?
I would have been like, do you want to be my worst client? So you can have that. Said, you can have that title.
I said, no, because bad clients are rude, offensive.
They're just cautious. They're nervous.
They were nervous.
Yeah.
I go, however, you are the most paranoid people I've ever met. Mm-hmm. So what I wish for you in 2024 is happiness.
Yeah, they're like every Spanish mom on earth. And paranoid, nervous about everything because that's just how they are.
He goes, but we've had all these bad. I go, look. You breed some positivity, you're gonna get it. But so that's probably like
I'm so big on that, man. I mean, and I'll never say this to a customer, but in my opinion, or sometimes the way I think, the people who are like that, very like just nervous about everything, stuff happens.
It always follows them around.
And I'm just like, and then when the stuff happens, and I'm just like in my head, I'm just like, it's like they wish this shit to happen. It's like they basically like, like they thought about it so much, and they were so about everything, and now it's happening. Mm-hmm. Whereas the people that are, it's like the positivity and like the laws of attraction and things like that.
I think that's why when you ask me, do I have these crazy things, I never go into any situation with what's gonna go wrong. I go, we're gonna figure it out, and it's gonna go right. And you know what? They go, how do you do that? And I go, it's going to go right because I want it to go right. And at the end of the day, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And
you can only control this much.
Yeah. And I think maybe it's just I'm getting old. Because I am. I mean, like, I'm nearing AARP category.
No, you're not.
I am.
Stop it. Get out of here.
It's 50. I'm be 49 in a few months. So,
you're good, man. You're good.
I get my emails every day. Like, I can't wait for a good coffee discount. I'm telling you.
Oh, my goodness. The early bird specials?
Yeah. I live that life now. Don't you?
Yeah, no, probably.
Are you guys early dinner people or late?
Me? Well, because the kids, I like to eat early.
Yeah,
but, it's funny. Last night, we were going to dinner. Because Mondays, we don't cook at home.
Why is that?
It's like Monday's the start of the week. It's like, well, it's not this. It's actually my Friday, right?
Okay.
But in general terms in the world, like Monday is like Monday. It's like, it's like the start of the week. It's the start of my wife's week, and it's like we just decided like we don't want to cook. We don't want to, we want Monday to be the day we go out and have a nice dinner and just kind of start the week off like that. That's kind of how we do it. We don't have to make a mess. I don't want to have to clean on a Monday. So that's typically what we do. But yesterday on the way there, we have, all these houses have spiders everywhere, right?
Yeah. Oh, and that's why I have Home Team Pest Defense comes out every other month.
And my wife says, she found like she said a brown widow or something like that, right? And I guess my kids have learned about it. So the hallway on the way to dinner last night, the kids are like, "Well, Daddy, what if it bites me? What am I gonna do?" And I'm just like, "Dude, it's not like." Like kind of like those nervous people. They were acting like that. And in my head, I'm just like, dude, it's not going to happen. Like, you're going to be fine. Like, they're more scared of you than you are of them. Like, if you see one, just either leave it alone or I'll take care of it. But it was just constant, just, asking. But back to the thing, yes. Dude, Spanish moms, man.
Really?
I think it's the Spanish news that just scares the shit out of them. Because it's the most negative news you can watch in the world. Bro.
See, and
it's so dramatic.
I didn't grow up. I grew up in the Midwest. Like, we're just like friendly, oblivious people, I guess.
They say no because, so and so's son, this happened to him. I'm like, so what? How's that gonna happen?
How's
to
that
me?
affect me?
Like that doesn't like that's you in your mind, kind of just like you need to stop. Like,
willing it into existence.
Yeah, like don't do that. You're gonna be okay.
All right, so I don't need a Spanish mom, is what you're telling me.
Oh no, they're great, but man, they are just not all of them probably, but they worry. I guess is what it is, right? I guess every mom worries, but
some worry more than others.
Some worry more than others, that's for sure. Man, oh man.
But getting back to this, so I eat out on the weekends, and then by Monday I'm like, we got to eat at home because we spent a fortune on Friday and Saturday, Sunday eating out. So like we work in opposites that way.
Yeah.
So I like home Monday. You're eating at home at my house.
Sure. Yeah,
always.
Yeah. No, well, weekends we're always with the fam.
Okay.
My wife, her whole family lives here, so we'll get together Saturday.
How's that?
Huh? I love it. Growing up in New Jersey, my family is huge on both sides.
Okay.
So my mom is
what's huge?
So my mom is one of 13. Yeah, my dad's one of 7. Now, granted, they didn't all live in that particular area, but there was like half of each. So I grew up around a lot of cousins and a lot of aunts and uncles on both sides of the family, and everyone was always very together. A lot, tons of birthdays, events, weekends. We would get together at grandma's house, and they'd cook. And my wife's family, since all of her immediate family, her brothers, sisters, her parents, we all live in Viera now.
Okay.
Because I don't have any family here.
Is that why you guys are here? Is because of her family mostly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
Yep. So the weekends we definitely we try to get the kids together.
How many people is that?
Like 20.
No way. So my family tree looks like one of these palm trees behind us. There's like 5 leaves.
Well, imagine for grandkids, including my kids, there's 8 grandkids.
No.
And then there's 4 siblings, so spouses, and then the old man and the grandma.
So my daughter is the only grandchild on either side of the family.
No, it's cool, man. I mean, it's
that's interesting.
And for me, it's kind of how I grew up, right? Around a lot of cousins, and then I had cousins that lived in Maryland or Connecticut or other places, and then for the big holidays, everyone would come together. So holidays was like crazy, but here it's nice that we have our kind of like our core,
like your core people.
Yeah, our core people, and that's basically what we do on the weekends.
That's
cool. We're at someone's house, we'll order pizza or we'll cook. The kids will just run around and, we'll just hang out and just shoot the shit.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. That's what we like to do. Sometimes we'll go out, obviously, but it's a lot of us, so it's hard to, go to,
you just rent a restaurant?
No, I mean, we try to give a kid's table and the adults can sit somewhere else. But that's what we like to do, man.
That's cool.
But I'm off, obviously, Tuesday, Wednesdays. So, last week I had to go to Orlando. My kid had a doctor's appointment. I actually went to this restaurant called Vito's Chop House on International Drive.
Oh, yeah, I know that place. I've never been there.
Super good, man.
Really?
Yeah, I would recommend it.
All right.
But a lot of cool things. But there's tons of stuff out here, man.
Yeah.
Especially with the weather. Well, the weather's always nice, but I want to do more fishing this year with my kids now that they're a little bit older.
Like in the river?
Yeah, take them down to Sebastian. Go fish or something. I want to do different stuff with them this year now that they're, getting a little bit older and things like that.
We started doing that with my daughter last year. My brother-in-law's got a flats boat.
Okay.
And we go out towards dusk and do
that
and then do the bioluminescence here. Have you done that?
Where is that? No. Where do they do that?
You can do it anywhere. No, you can do it anywhere here. We do it in Merritt Island mostly.
Like in the river?
In the river. You can do these kayaking tours up in Merritt Island. They have these clear kayaks. What? And you go out at night, up, and it's dark because you're away from everything. And you can see the fish running around. They light up. You ever see the movie Avatar?
Yeah.
It's like Avatar, the blue. It is the most incredible natural phenomenon I've ever seen. is so worth it.
But I've heard that that's big in Puerto Rico.
Is it?
Yeah, they have bioluminescent areas. I forget where it is. I've never been. I was out there once, and we were going to do it, but something happened. And then I've heard of Kim Dickerson. She was on my show a couple episodes ago, and she talked about that as well.
It's so cool. We did it.
Shout out Kim.
Behind the boat last year, and it just like
That's crazy.
lit up so blue.
Yeah.
It's
What do you guys like to do out here aside from? I mean, like, do you guys go to Orlando a lot, or what do you guys do in your free time?
My daughter's a Harry Potter fan, so we go to Universal quite a bit. The
Not
zoo.
Not a bad thing to do. I mean, I love it out there.
Brevard Zoo for sure is like a hot spot for us. We go over the avenues a lot because there's always something going on over there.
Event there. Yeah.
And she loves she's a mac and cheese connoisseur, so she likes the mac and cheese at Pizza Gallery.
Is it good?
It's
she likes
craft. But it's hot, and so that's what we get. I feel like we just kind of hang around the area. We do a lot with friends, so there's always something going on at somebody's house.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about, like we said, it's a small enough community where that's still very easily happen. We go walk on the beach and do those things too, because even in Viera, you're west of 95, but you're 15 minutes. 15
minutes. Right now that they opened up.
Oh,
Pineda. When I tell people that, they're like, how far are we from? I'm like, you leave the community and you make a right, you pass Costco, you'll be there in 15.
It's so
like,
easy.
for real? I'm like, yeah.
It's so fast.
I got to get out there more. I want to go, more just to go,
That'll be fun. And those are like family moments you can't get back. We fish in our backyard in the retention pond.
No way.
Yeah. There's
catch and release and just
huge bass in that.
Seriously?
Yeah, we pulled out like some 3, 4, 5 pound bass out of that lake.
What about the gators? They don't bother.
It's Florida.
Yeah,
there's a gator everywhere.
Yeah, they're
but
everywhere.
they don't. Never had an issue. But
That's
we
another
fish.
thing. People are like, oh, they're gators.
We've caught catfish in that lake. We've caught tilapia. Yeah. The neighbors are always. We keep fishing poles on the back porch. A little bit redneck, I know, but we sit back there and then we go out and throw a line.
Do you have a license? I mean, don't you need it? Well, no, not there, but I think if you go to like the lakes.
Yeah, if you go to like the bigger lakes or the river, you're supposed to have a fishing license. But we don't keep anything.
I might hit you up. I need like a fishing starter kit. What I need to get poles and tackle box, and I used to do it as a kid.
I used to fish with hot dogs, hot dog and bobber.
Okay.
Oh man, my mom.
As the bait.
Yeah, the hot dog skin because it stayed on better. My mom was so angry with me all the time because I always used up all of her hot dogs out of the house.
Where would you? So growing up in Indiana, were you landlocked also? Where would you go?
We had
for
like
the summer.
We had a spring. Summer we were usually around the house. We had a little spring-fed pond in our subdivision, so we'd swim and fish in that.
Oh wow! Okay.
We had like city pools and parks, and we did that. And I played tons of sports. And then about an hour and a half south was part of Tennessee Valley Authority. They had Kentucky Lake and Lake Barkley. My parents had a sailboat there for years.
Oh, wow!
So we would go down and stay on the sailboat and sail. And we have friends with powerboats, so we'd go skiing and fishing. And
winters were rough though.
Huh?
Winters, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Cold.
Yeah.
Cold and gray sky from like November to April.
Terrible.
It's like New Jersey that way. Yeah. Brutal.
I think just last week, I was talking to my mom probably every day, and she was like, "Oh, it's so cold out here. It was like 15 degrees."
Yeah. No, I don't. Like, do you miss scraping a car?
No. Hate that.
You had to go out and start it like 30 minutes early so you could get to scrape it.
So before I left in 2012, I lived with my dad. We had a condo. And he had a parking spot in the parking, and I would have to park in the street. And in where I lived, certain days of the week was street cleaning or whatever, so you'd have to move your car, and sometimes you forget. But and I always say that too. Like my sisters, right? They're like, "Oh, we love it out here." I'm like, "Yeah, because you never had to shovel. You never had to do any. Someone always did it for you. Yeah, you guys would be inside.
I remember all that.
And I would be the asshole, shoveling." Then have to go to my grandma's house and shovel her,
You had to like warm up your door lock to get the ice off of it, stick the key in.
Cars like
Yeah.
open, you're like, "Ah." Like, nah, man. I think it's just easier here.
It is.
Like,
no.
well, I'm like, oh, but the seasons. I don't care about the seasons. I do not. I literally don't.
You know what? I'll go.
I like sun. That's
I can
it.
go fly to see some snow, and then after 3 or 4 days, I'm good, and I come back.
I still have not. I'm actually dreading the day my kids are like, Dad.
My daughter's
skiing.
hitting us
And I'm just
hard.
Like, I'm gonna be like, like Jesus.
She's hitting us hard for it now, so we're gonna have to.
Because any time off I get, I go to places where it's warmer than.
Yeah, I see that on your Instagram.
Yeah.
You're always somewhere
like,
cool.
Yeah, that's no shoes or whatever. So, but like Maui, like we got here. I chose this spot because obviously, like, look how beautiful it is.
You didn't want to go to Breckenridge or Aspen. Like this is where we ended up, huh?
Maybe we'll do that next time. And I'll wear like a North Face.
Yeah,
and we'll put like a fake little fire right here.
some male Uggs or something.
Oh my goodness. Nah, man. But yeah. So I think we're coming up on time.
I think so too.
A little bit. Real quick before you leave, I do like to ask all my friends and people around here, favorite food, man. What's the Jeremy, last meal or favorite stuff? Maybe you grew up eating something that your mom made, or what's the one dish that, like, man, it's just.
My mom always made a good tuna casserole, but
Okay.
as an adult, my wife makes this chicken casserole with cream of mushroom soup, and she puts stovetop on
What
the
type
top
of chicken? Like, is it like
no, just like
chicken
a
breast?
chicken breast. We
Okay.
cut it up, and it's got cream of mushroom soup, some white wine, cheese.
Cheese.
Gotta have it, and then stovetop. Man, my favorite meal is Thanksgiving.
Is it
Oh,
stuffing?
a stuffing, turkey and stuffing.
I love stuffing.
Who does? You know what? You have
Like a nice, good, moist stuffing.
Oh, yeah.
I put chorizo in my stuffing.
They put sausage in
Yeah.
in it. We don't get fancy.
It's not fancy. It's just chorizo.
But that'd probably be my favorite meal.
That's awesome.
Here, gosh, there's so many new and good restaurants. I went to Urban Prime.
Yeah.
Holy
Shout out Urban
smokes,
Prime.
Great steak.
I feel bad for how they were perceived when they opened. So it's fucking, like, I hate that.
It's hard to be new.
It's not only that. Well, that's 100%. But it's like, how are locals with a new local restaurant? Like, give these people a chance.
Yep.
you know?
Crush 11. I love
Like,
downtown.
Oh
Melbourne.
yeah, Crush 11 is awesome.
Pizza Gallery's a go-to for me
Pizza
though.
Gallery's
They
good.
got big menu
They got good drinks.
and they're solid. Always solid.
Yeah. My go-to pizza, and I always say it, Jenna Pizza.
You do Jenna. So if I'm
Jenna.
ordering takeout, Mr. Delicious Viera,
He's good.
my boy Mike Acosta, I love what he does for the community, so I love supporting everything.
That's awesome.
For him.
Well,
Alex is waving us off. He wants to fly home.
He wants to fly home.
He did not wear his sunscreen today.
He didn't want to come to Maui today.
I don't know why.
He did not want to come. I think out of him and John, I think they like rock paper scissors shoot, and
he lost.
He lost. That's why he's here.
Well,
but guys, man, dude,
it's
appreciate
been a
you, brother.
pleasure.
Thank you. I wish you the best in 2024. I hope we could do more deals.
Same.
Build some more homes, get some people. Build homes and sell the dreams in Viera.
Always. Viera, man, that's what it's all about.
That's what it comes down to. Dude, have a good rest of your day.
You too. Thank you
so
much for having me.
Appreciate you,
this
brother.
Has been a blast.
Thank you to the whole team. Coming to you live again from CLI Studios in Maui. We are out. It's done. Have a good day.